Several U.S. presidents are on record talking about the UFO mystery.
Yeah, Presidents Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan both had UFO sightings of their own, but the current presidential campaign might be the first in which UFO disclosure has been championed by a major party candidate. During a recent campaign stop in Las Vegas, the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton told Politics Now host Steve Sebelius that his candidate will try to get to the bottom of the UFO question. George Knapp has that story.
I think the American people can handle the truth about this.
John Podesta has always been a strong advocate for declassification of government files in general and UFO files in particular. As White House Chief of Staff for Bill Clinton, Podesta helped declassify hundreds of millions of documents, but if there were UFO secrets being held somewhere, they eluded even the president. Podesta returned to the White House as an advisor to President Obama, and on the day he left that job, he sent out a tweet saying his biggest disappointment was the failure to uncover the UFO files. These days, Podesta has the ear of another potential president. He's running the campaign for Hillary Clinton and made it clear to political reporter Steve Sebelius that the UFO question has been discussed.
I've talked to Hillary about that. This is a little bit of a cause of mine, which is that people really want to know what the government knows, and there are still classified files that could be declassified.
It wasn't an offhand remark. Podesta has encouraged journalists to ask his candidate about UFOs, and a few have done so. Mrs. Clinton told a New Hampshire newspaper she intends to get to the bottom of the UFO mystery, thinks it's possible the planet may have been visited, and would consider creating a task force to investigate Nevada's Area 51 military base, which became a center of UFO attention more than 25 years ago because of reports that aired on KLAS TV. CNN characterized Mrs. Clinton's remarks as jokes, but Podesta makes it clear he and his candidate are serious.
I think I've convinced her that we need an effort to kind of go look at that and declassify as much as we can so that people have their legitimate questions answered, and more attention and more discussion about unexplained aerial phenomena can happen without people who are in public life, who are serious about this, being ridiculed.
The Clintons know firsthand how the UFO topic invites ridicule. Anyone remember the frequent tabloid headlines during the Clinton presidency? Hillary adopts alien baby, space alien endorses bill. And more recently, conspiracy theorists have suggested there are UFO secrets hidden in Mrs. Clinton's private emails. It comes with the territory.
I come in for, I guess, my fair share of people raising questions about whether I'm off my rocker, but I've been a long-time advocate of declassification of records.
And he basically ended one of his speeches by saying, not only can the public handle it, but we should do it because it's the law.
Huffington Post writer Lee Spiegel has followed the UFO debate since the late 70s. He notes that Podesta has been way out in front on UFO disclosure.
I think it's time to open the books.
In speeches at places like the National Press Club. In the mid-90s, the Clintons were lobbied by billionaire Lawrence Rockefeller to end UFO secrecy. Mrs. Clinton was photographed with Rockefeller while holding a book titled Are We Alone? The Implications of Discovery of ET Life. Bill Clinton has made public statements confirming that he tried to get to the bottom of UFO issues while in office.
So first I had people go look at the records on Area 51 to make sure there was no alien down there.
The government's interest in UFOs officially ended with the closure of Project Blue Book in 1969, but the suspicion remains that unexplained encounters involving national security are still being studied by someone. Podesta suspects that someone is holding on to a large cache of UFO files. Lee Spiegel says several whistleblowers have surfaced over the years, including the late lunar astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell, who say that secrets are still being kept.
There are military people coming forward now saying the government never did stop investigating UFOs, and we need to grow up to that.
We can see what's going on here in Nevada.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
Now, Mrs. Clinton's rival for the Democratic nomination, Senator Bernie Sanders, was also asked about UFOs, but said he is far more interested in issues that are more pressing for most Americans.
UFOs have been the stuff of conspiracy theorists for decades, often mocked for talking about it, but maybe they shouldn't be mocked. Commander David Fravor spent 18 years as a naval aviator, a pilot. In 2004, he had an unforgettable encounter with an aircraft he said was defying the laws of physics. Former Commander Fravor joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on tonight. Tell us what you saw.
Well, we had launched on a routine training mission. When we joined up, we were told that the event was going to be canceled and that we have real-world tasking, and we were sent out to the west. Now, take in mind that this has taken place about 100 miles southwest of San Diego, between San Diego and Ensenada, Mexico, on a clear, perfect day, blue waters. We get out to the spot where they tell us it's at. We start looking around, and both airplanes see a disturbance in the water and a white 40-foot long tic-tac shaped object just hovering above the water, going forward, back, left, right. There's no rotor wash, there's no wings, nothing. So as we drive around in a clockwise flow, we get to about the 9 o'clock position, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and check it out, and the other jet is going to stay high. So as we go down, when we get to the 12 o'clock position, it starts to mirror us. So it's in a clockwise flow, and it's on the opposite side of the circle from us. And we continue this. It's in a climb, we're in a descent. We're getting a great look at it. This whole thing takes about probably up to 5 minutes from the time we show up. I get over to the 8 o'clock position. It's at about the 2 o'clock position, and I decide I'm going to go and see what it is, and it's about 2,000 feet below me. And I cut across the circle, and as I get within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerates to the south in about 2 seconds and disappears.
What would you estimate the speed?
Oh, well above supersonic. It like a bullet out of a gun, it took off.
So from what you know about aerodynamics, mechanics, physics, should this be possible, what you saw?
Not with the technology that we have today. Not at all.
Even now, even 13 years later, is there anything that you know of capable of this kind of behavior?
No, there's nothing I know of. I mean, when we saw the video with the IR, it has no exhaust, no discernible things of anything form of propulsion. And this thing came from a dead hover over the water, just kind of moving around, to a climb up to about 12,000 feet to rapidly accelerating away in a climb, and in less than 2 seconds it was gone. And you figure you're talking 50 miles of visibility, and you can easily see an object that size easily out to 10 miles, and it just disappeared in seconds.
What would be the effects on a human pilot of the G-forces involved in that altitude change?
Well, the altitude wouldn't be bad. It would be the acceleration of the object.
That's right.
Honestly, I wanted to fly it.
Yeah,
but, I bet. Talking to some physicists, they don't think the human body could handle that kind of force with that acceleration.
It doesn't sound like the human body could. So bottom line, what do you think this was?
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
When presumably you expressed that belief to your superiors, what did they say?
Actually, we caught a lot of grief getting back to the boat, and it got passed off as an event that no one could explain. Now, keep in mind, they had been tracking these for 2 weeks prior to us seeing it, and this was the first time that manned airplanes had been airborne when the objects appeared.
This feels like a really big story to me. It's not exactly clear why Vladimir Putin's more interesting than this. I think this seems like a big deal. And Commander, I appreciate your taking the time to talk to us about it. You seem sober and believable, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Tucker.
Thanks.